Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for this month's issue of The Walking Dead comics. We got issue 189 this time around, and this one, I think, you guys know I've been really praising this arc and saying a lot of good things about it. I think this was maybe one of the weaker issues of the arc. It's just there's a few things that it's like, I had fun reading it, and I just enjoyed shutting my brain off, reading it and stuff. But when you look at some of the stuff critically, some of the stuff is a little silly, and there are a few things that I've brought up a bit, but they kind of keep worrying me a little bit, because I went and I looked at what some other people were saying about the issue and about the storyline, and some of them were bringing up that, they're like, oh, it's kind of rinse and repeat, same old if Rick just becomes the leader of this new place. And I feel that. I think there's enough different stuff there that if it's a good story, I'm okay with Rick taking over. But I kind of feel like he shouldn't. I feel like this is maybe Carl's time to step up as a main character, even if he doesn't run the place as a leader. And I think the big thing here, I've kept bringing it up, is that we have this tendency in an arc for us to lose a lot of characters, but then there's the happy ending in the end. And I really don't think a happy ending for our main characters is necessarily the way this should go. They haven't really lost anybody yet. I have a feeling they will. other than Dwight, but I don't know. I feel like Rick and Michonne specifically don't necessarily deserve a happy ending here. Like, if everything works out for Michonne, or like even somebody was like, Rick should make Michonne the leader, what do the characters gain from that? What do any of them learn? Michonne threw away her past for an even further back past that doesn't really exist anymore, and in addition to that, she's been a horrible person. She sold out Dwight, who not only saved her multiple times, but like I was saying in the live reaction, her selling out Dwight isn't just selling out Dwight, it's like selling out everyone. It's like selling out all of Alexandria, all of her old friends. Because the thing is, remember what Rick said to Dwight in the jail? What if he had said that during that meeting there and Pamela had wanted to arrest/kill both Dwight and Rick? Then supposedly her best friend, who also has a child at home waiting for him to come back, she would have just betrayed him. What if this kicked off a war between their communities? She could have just screwed everyone for a nice penthouse and some money, a job as a lawyer. So I kind of feel like Michonne really doesn't deserve a happy ending here. She has kind of fully become the bad guy, and that's what this issue is kind of making my worries even more of a worry, because of how Rick is portrayed. So, I'm not sure how to feel about all of that right now. But going through it from beginning to end at first, so we start off with Eugene and Stephanie in this massive ass herd, this huge horde of zombies, walkers, whatever. Got within 10 feet of them without them hearing, and stuff like this happens where you're like, how do they not hear that? But this is a little bit extreme. This is a little bit too much. No matter how interested they were in what they were talking about or working on, it's an entire horde, and we know that they make noises. And even if they didn't make vocal noises, you couldn't hear the footsteps of that many getting within 10 feet. So I think it's too many and too close for me to suspend disbelief with that anymore, especially after he notices the two of them jump off of the one car that they're on to go to the engine car they hide in, and we see that there are ones in front of them now. They've not only snuck up behind them somehow, but wrapped around in front of them, and they couldn't see them right in front of them. So again, it is just a little bit too much to suspend disbelief. That was a little bit too silly. So they hide in an engine car. Then we see Laura visiting Mercer. I thought the scene was really funny, where she has this cool line like, "I think you should back away from that wall," and then she's like, "No, seriously, back away from the wall." George blows a hole in the wall that everybody notices, and Rick makes a good point about them being so bold that they're willing to go through with a plan to break somebody out that's that obvious. That's how confident they are in what they're doing. And George kind of gives an explanation for why he bitched out in front of Lance earlier, and it's that, well, if I had sided with you and we had both gotten locked up, then what good would I be in the cell next to you? So, that does make sense. Rick tries to save Pamela's family even though they totally don't appreciate it or appreciate the situation that they're in, and we've seen them kind of be complete assholes by this point. And Rick even brings up, yeah, you're complete assholes, everybody hates you, you're running this place into the ground, but I don't think you should die for it. In the end, though, I don't know if Mercer's like this bloodthirsty person who'd be like, oh yeah, they have to die. I think rather he would just depose them and make a more democratic system rather than the sort of Pamela dictatorship going on. But yeah, fuck them. If they did kill them, I mean, they're kind of shitty. But I don't think they would kill them, is kind of the point. But he gets Jesus and Aaron to go take them to Greenville, and this is again a situation for me where Rick's being kind of a shitty leader. He didn't tell Jesus and Aaron what's going on. Jesus and Aaron don't know these people. What if they're siding with the bad guys? And ordinarily it'd be like, well yeah, they could trust Rick's judgment, but Rick's judgment here is really, really fucking off. So, yeah, screwing Jesus and Aaron by not telling them everything. It's just like before when Dwight went out. He fought this army of whisperers and walkers, and when he came back, Rick's like, hundreds? I said there were thousands. And it's like, this guy was in charge of your army. You sent him out to war with your people in danger on the front lines, and you didn't even bother to tell him how many you thought there were. Like, it kind of makes Dwight seem even more right that Rick is just not a good leader and should not be leading when he does things like this. Eugene then escapes. I thought there was a good callback in his speech to No Way Out. It's just, I really, really liked the speech he gave, but then I remember that he let a horde of walkers surround him and didn't see or hear anything, and I'm like, kind of a little bit hard to take it seriously now. Then Rick has a good moment with Carl where he says, when the time comes, you know what you'll have to do, you know what you should choose. And I'm hoping that the lesson here, the way the characters can move forward, is by Carl siding with the people. Not necessarily with Mercer, and definitely not with Pamela, but siding with the people, so that the lesson can sort of be that Carl made the right choice, and Rick and Michonne have to live with making, or die with making, the wrong choices that they've made. So I think that that's maybe one of the only ways I see out of this where the characters can grow, because if Rick just takes over, I don't see how that makes many of the characters or any of them grow at all. And especially if Michonne takes over. If Michonne has any happy ending with this, I don't really see how she's learned any lesson. And again, I know some of you are probably going to be upset that I harp on this Michonne stuff, but another issue with it is that it would be one thing too if she betrayed Dwight and could have potentially betrayed Rick and everybody else, but if she just betrayed Dwight and she was as torn up about it as Rick was, where she's like, man, that didn't go how I wanted it to, things were screwed up, I'm really, really sorry for what I've done, but I thought it was right in the moment. If she was like that, it'd be different, but instead she's like, oh no, let's go have a nice dinner, let's enjoy my apartment, let's reap the benefits, screw that guy, he was a loose cannon anyway. And being so flippant and nonchalant about betraying a person who has saved your life multiple times, I think is just way, way too far gone. Then at the end we see that Mercer has captured Lance. The citizens are being real dumb fucks, but at the same time, and this happens in a lot of series where the citizens, the random just citizens of a place, will do really stupid things, and it's just meant to frustrate you as a reader or a viewer. But in this, I kind of get where they're coming from. From their point of view, it might seem like Mercer's just leading a coup, and Rick brings that up, but I really feel like they should probably know better than this. Like, if Mercer's taking over from Pamela, wouldn't you just be like, well, at least it's not Pamela's family? So, I don't know, the citizens just jumping straight to conclusions like that, I think is a bit too far, and it's pushing it a little bit. And at the end, Mercer still says he needs Rick to lead, Rick needs to take over. Again, I don't necessarily think that what Mercer's doing should work out, but even if Rick's the one to do it and not Carl, siding with the people and finding a way to go with the people, I think could cause a lot of growth. So yeah, I don't know how to feel about where it's leading with the various characters, because I like the complexity where this entire arc has had a lot of gray areas where you're like, oh, well, technically this character's not wrong, but they're not really right either. And there have been a lot of gray areas, and I've loved that, where you can interpret things different ways. But at the same time, it's kind of become such a gray area that it's made me wonder about Kirkman. I'm like, so is he somehow going to pull out that Rick and Michonne are the good guys when they've clearly been the bad guys here? Or at least clearly been very, very misled and have not been clear-cut good guys? Is he just going to portray Rick as the undead messiah once again, leading this place after everything goes into a happily ever after? Because I feel like doing that again just doesn't fit the story that's being told. So yeah, I like the gray areas, but it makes me really worried about Rick and Michonne just succeeding and being like, yep, we won, good guys win, that's the end, even though the good guys totally haven't been good. The herd stuff too was really silly. Again, I like the stuff that went on with Eugene and his character, but the way that it was done wasn't very good. Because, I mean, all you had to do was draw them noticing the herd a bit further back, or, I don't know, even escaping the way they did. It seemed like it would have been better for them to just wait things out rather than run for a risky escape. I don't know, it just seems like it was done in a really odd way. This also, again, that one scene made me think, okay, Rick's kind of a shitty leader. Dwight was right. Because he never gives any information to people. And again, there's a difference between letting people make their own decisions and not being a Ricktator. But at the same time, you should probably give them information on what they're doing, like not telling Jesus and Aaron what's going on. Just, oh, take these people. You might get killed because you're taking them, but I'm not going to tell you that. They might be shitty people and you might be working for the bad guys, but I'm not going to tell you any of that. I feel like him never giving anyone any information is sort of a recurring crappy leader thing. So yeah, I'd give it 6.5 silent herds out of 10 because I still very much did enjoy reading it, and I like a lot of the arc's themes, but at the same time I feel like this was one of the weaker, probably the weakest issue this arc. So we'll see where things go. We're ramping up toward 200 where something big's going to happen. I think it's probably going to be Rick's death and Carl takes over as main character, but it could be Michonne's. Because she also, like I said, I've been harping on this thing of her being an asshole, but I think that it could be purposeful because she's going to learn a lesson through she's messed up, she's screwed all this up, and she needs to do something to redeem herself before she dies. And that could lead into however she dies. So we'll just have to see the way things go. But yeah, I think this issue had some trouble. 6.5 out of 10. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like if you did like it, comment down there and tell me what you thought of this issue and what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more. The Walking Dead comics. I do a live reaction and review every month, but I'll do a video on the show once the season's over, just to talk about the season. Subscribe for more. Wait, I just said that. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel or talk to you there. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us on Discord, just ask and I can give you one. It's free and open for anyone. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.